to all, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining. Um, I will present a couple of slides at first, and then we'll let Pia tell about her awesome topic. So, a couple of words about what is TeamsNation. So, TeamsNation is a network of people who love Teams, people who love technology behind Teams and how you can extend Teams. TeamsNation is also providing opportunities to present and share your knowledge, learn from each other, also have some fun while doing it, and also democratizing the knowledge and experience. So you can come here and learn, or you can have your first session on TeamsNation if you want. Here you can see the organizing party. Actually, I'm not sharing my screen, which is stupid. First mistake of the year. Okay, good, but no worries. Let's just continue. So here you can see the organizing party: Chris Horde, Adam Deltinger, Wes Kunopan, and Chris Webb, Paul Dredge, and myself. And TeamsNation is established on 2019. We already have had 50 speakers speaking on our events, 4 online conferences, and almost 700 members on our community. And there you can actually see the link if you want to speak, if you have a great topic about Teams, extending Teams, adoption, just some cool use cases. How have you been using Teams, for example, in your organization? Submit your session, and I think we can find a speaking slot for you. And how to get involved? You can follow us on Twitter at TeamsNation. We have a meetup where you can actually join to our community, see the events, what is upcoming, see the event details. We also have a site, teamsnation.rocks, which is focused mostly on TeamsNation Community Conference, which is upcoming later this year. And if you want to speak, there is the call for speakers link. And all these meetups recordings are actually going to YouTube, so you can find this session and earlier sessions on YouTube as well. And on LinkedIn, of course, we also share some news and latest info about TeamsNation. But next is our first speaker of the year. Pia is telling us about leadership program and digital workplace. And I know the session will be cool and it will be hosted on not on PowerPoint slides. So Pia, you can start just sharing your screen and take it away. This will be interesting.
Thank you. I was looking at your list on how to engage. You don't do any TikTok dances on TeamNation? I think that you could do something with the Janet Jackson, TeamNation thing.
I think that would be Vesku's game, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. I would watch that, definitely. So anyway.
Let's keep that in mind.
Well, thank you guys for having me as a speaker. I'm gonna take you, all of you, on a little journey in my whiteboard. And just to begin with, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Pia Langenkrans, and I'm from Sweden. I work as a senior consultant, I can say that, and I also work for Storials. So I help, big corporations to move towards the cloud. And we've been saying for a really long time that we need to have a champions program, we need to have awareness program, we need to have a training. A lot of companies are now doing all of those things, but it's not really working. We're still not getting the adoption. It still gets messy. We have too many teams, we have too many channels. We have a lot of dead teams and dead channels. And still, some are using email in the same groups, and it's a mess. And how to get this to really work, we need to work with the leadership, like the managers. And I'm not talking about the top management, because they are now on board. Everywhere, everyone is on board with a digital workplace because of the pandemic. So everyone knows that we just have to have it working. So we do have that support now, but what we do need is to get the managers. And I'm going to start with talking you through why our way of working today isn't working and what to do to make it work. And then what we're actually going to do, put the content into the program. I would ask everyone to raise your hand if you have any questions. Use the chat. I love it when people interrupt me because I might not stop talking and because I'm really passionate about this. But please, please, please get involved if you have any questions or something. I've been running this with a couple of customers and it's really, really working. And I've seen a lot of things on my journey to get here. So that's cool. So basically, this is the situation that we have, right? Managers and companies saying like, we don't have time to learn about these new tools because we're too busy, and we're standing there with the tools in our hands to be like, but I can make you more efficient, more productive. I can ease your pain, but they're like, we don't have time for that. We have to do this. So why don't they listen to us? And that is because this that we're showing them about the Microsoft 365 capacity, it doesn't mean anything to them. This means nothing to managers. This is just a toolbox. And they have seen so many toolboxes. They come from SAP, they come from Google, they come from everywhere. Everyone has a toolbox and says like, oh, if you just use my tools correctly, then you will be more efficient. And then when push comes to shove, it really doesn't, because we need to do certain things with this toolbox to make it work for an organization. So when we put up this and talk about all the services and all the good stuff that you can get in Microsoft 365, managers, they don't care, they don't listen, they don't have time for that. They just like, this doesn't mean anything to me. What means something to them is this boring thing. Functions of a manager are the various roles played by the manager in an organization. A manager is accountable for the happenings in the firm and is answerable to the management. The 7 major roles played by the manager are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, leading, coordinating, reporting, budgeting, controlling. This is something that we need to learn. This language we need to learn. We need to know how to position those services that they don't care about into something like this, like they do care about. And we have to use their language, and we have to put the, not so much focus on the tech, but really bottle it down to some of the areas in Teams and Microsoft 365 that is their tools that will make them do this better and more efficiently and, smarter, faster, whatever kind of buzzword we want to put in there. But we have to remember that this is what they care about. So we can show them the other stuff. So the secrets about managers, they don't have time for real. And if their manager, if the top management isn't on board with this, they will not comply. We cannot make a grassroots movement to have company structure and company culture and policies. That has to be top down. So we have to have top management involved. And now we do. Everyone is involved. We need to have a functioning digital workplace. And they don't listen to me. Managers do not listen to me. They don't listen to tech people or consultants. They listen to other managers. So the trick is, here's one of the sneaky parts. The trick is to get that early adopter manager and make him or her a star. So that could be in purchasing, that could be in HR, that could be a project manager or someone. Make that person a star who is the manager, and we will give that person a high five wherever we can do that and be like, good job, you in sales. Now you are 40% more effective and the staff feels confident and you're having a good time with all of this. You rock. And we don't stop doing this. And for all the meetings, we'll pull up, this Chris has been doing all of this good stuff and we're really impressed by you and thank you. And then that manager is going to talk about you all the time because you talk well about that manager is going to talk well about you and promote you as doing this adoption stuff. And also what happens is that other managers will be looking at them, whoa, if it works for them, then it will work for me. And I don't want to be the last one. No one wants to be the last cab driver with, a horse and a buggy. So no one wants to be last, but these managers, they listen to other managers. And then you will onboard some other manager and make something more efficient for them. And then you're in, and you're really in. And also, managers are very competitive. I did for one company, it was actually a government entity. And I was going to teach them how to use Yammer, and it was a conference. So I did a little competition. And they were supposed to go into this Yammer, a closed Yammer group just for these managers, and they would get points. Points for taking a picture of a chair, points for starting a conversation, points for replying to a conversation with an image, stupid stuff like that. It turned into a life and death scenario. The most feedback I got of the end of the day is, when are we going to get the points? When are you going to tell us who is the winner? They didn't really care about what they were doing. They were like, okay, tell me, can it be any chair that I put a picture of? Can I put the same picture of the same chair many times? And I would let them cheat, and I would let them do all this stuff. It was great, and they were really into it. And then some of the managers would be like, this is a good tool for me and my group. I'm going to be able to use this. And that was great, but because then I could make that manager into a star and then, coach him on how to use the Yammer as a way of talking to his entity in the business. And the other ones be like, yeah, we're probably going to do the same thing he is. So that's great. Also, managers, they want to be in charge and they don't want to follow. So make them into digital leaders, which people can follow. We're not going to make them into experts or IT support or trainers. We're going to make them into leaders. And a leader, I put up an article in, I have a team with a private channel for the digital managers. And I just put a SharePoint page as a tab. And in that tab, I did an image of a big heart, and I put in that information that you are digital leaders. You are not IT support. You are not trainers. You are not experts. Steve Jobs didn't know how to change a screen on an iPhone, but he changed the world. That just small quote, I put it up there, and I would just tell, and that makes them feel like, I am like Steve Jobs in this digital change. And they like me, and they like themselves a little bit better. They get a little bit more confidence, and they get reminded of how to actually be a leader. To lead is not to know everything, but to just point out a direction, and this is where we're going, and manage everything that comes up. We're not all experts, not all of us, not on everything. So just we follow a leader that we believe in, and making them into leaders, not experts. That's very important. And some of these managers are very, very stressed, on the verge of getting a heart attack. This is, very, very common. They're overworked, and they get a little bit, angry and resistant. And this is, this is very, very important to deal with. Just listen to them. They can have, when I started, these coaching sessions with managers, the first couple of sessions, they were all just people, barking at me, being like, this is digital change, I can't deal with this, I don't have time, and, it's stressing me out, it's doing all of this. Just listen to them. Like, don't go into defense. Be like, I understand there is a lot going on, and just don't put a lot of pressure. And then also, let them come to you. Let them be a part of, taking decisions about the timeline. I will come back to that later on, but just be, listening, be opening, don't put pressure on them as individuals. And also do not care about them. Like, do not give them a deadline that they should work on, or you should try to contact them over and over again. These are the managers who are the laggards. Let them be the laggards. There will always be someone who is a laggard. So let these people be them. And they will, and focus on the other ones, because your life is going to be a lot more fun. And also when these people finally will come to you and say like, oh God, I don't have time for this, but now everyone is doing it. I have to be doing it. How can we do it? And then you'd be like, okay, we're going to do like Michelle, like Chris, like Bob have been doing this. We're going to, take a little twist in it, make it in for your unit, and we're going to make this work. And we can make this work maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. Because then you've already done this. You already transitioned so many managers in this organization that you already know how this organization works. You know the terms, you know their like how they usually work. So, deal with them, be nice to them. And also, when they're being assholes, because, oh, excuse my language, YouTube maybe is gonna pick up on that. Just let it, just fall over you. Just don't care about that. When they say like, we're actually doing work here, you'd be like, well, I don't want to waste your time. Fine. So just let them go. Just let them go. And work with the fun stuff, right? And some of these managers are driven by risks. So let's do risks, right? I've put together some of the most common risks. I'm not going to go through all of them. We're going to put out this whiteboard together with stuff afterwards. So you're going to get that. But these are some of the risks that you're working on. And the managers are, in reality, working with. So take this, use this, go through the risks with them, because then you will get their words and you can also hear what they're worried about, and you deal with this. And, in the program that we have now, with the training, awareness, IT support, and also the final key, this leadership program, it's very copy pastable, this program. So you can use it a lot. It's not very complex. It's more taxing on your time and on your soul, and repeating the same thing over and over again. But it is, onboarding of new people takes too long. We don't have enough support and freedom for advanced users. We don't have enough support for newbies. Training is expensive and takes too long. And then, we still have to tell them, well, the option is worse. No, not training people is worse. They do need that. And also you're going to be touching on, the devices that are too old or too strict or too loose or something like that is going to be here. But, so some managers are driven by risks. Do risks. Always do risks. But other people are driven by the possibilities. So we're going to put the possibilities of this new tech from their perspective. So we have a risk here of competitors are faster and better, takes both customers and employees. Well, if we get this, if we understand this tech, then we can take their customers and their employees. This is great. This is what some managers are motivated by. You find these people in engineering, in sales, in marketing. They're usually a little bit more forward, and this is what you need, because you don't want to be the person telling, finance or HR or communication or whatever, what part of the organization who isn't, leaning forward, be like, why they should use this new tech. When you, twist, the other side of the coin for the risk, also the new tech and functionality goes unnoticed when it could help us become better. If we flip that, I say that when we do notice and use the new tech, we become better. We become faster. We become more cost efficient. This is what some, so you tell those things to the right managers. and you show them some of the things that will make them like, yeah, you could do this. One of my other customers are doing this. You kind of gossip this to those managers, and they will not remember that you told them. They will just remember the value that they now feel is that this is an opportunity for our business to thrive and for us to crush the competition. They are very competitive. So use this. Up until this point, we've not been talking too much about tech. We don't have to talk about tech yet because they know this is why you are there. But we need to, constantly nagging about the why to these managers. They have to do this because of the pandemic, but that's not really a why, because we still have to go down to, the framework of it all, that we have to agree on all of the stuff that, I like to call house rules, and I will come back to. We still have to make a lot of decisions because it's not tech, it's how we're using the tech and how we are putting our culture for the digital workplace in place. Like IT cannot tell the company when they should create a team or a channel. We can tell you how to create a team or a channel, but the business have to have the definition of this is a team and this is how we're going to use channels. This is how we're going to do this. So we have to teach them how to use that. But before we can get there, we have to get them hungry. So, we talk about the why, and then they will come to us with, well, okay, fine, I get it. How do I do this? So coming from that, please, if you have any questions or comments, just, add that to us, to the chat, or raise your hand. Okay, so now we all get why they don't listen. So what should we actually be telling them? The actual program. And this is also something we have to remember. We have going back to this this other picture of here, like this is Microsoft 365. This is all the the capabilities of Microsoft 365. This is not what we're going to talk about to the managers. They don't have to know everything. They just have to know a few things, and that comes to organizing their team. And I've been boiling it down to these 4 areas, and this actually works. When it comes to document, connect and communicate, meeting and notes, tasks, and to-dos. This is the meat and potatoes of the leadership program, because it's not IT. It's not any central entity that says, where should you store your documents? That is the manager in each team. If I'm the project manager in a team, it says like, we're going to use GitHub. That is what we're going to use to store our documents. Then that is what this project is going to do. It doesn't matter if someone says we're not supposed to do this. Well, if your closest manager says that this is what we're going to do for this project, this entity, this process, that is what's going to happen. And it's also that manager's position and responsibility to say, okay, this is where the body of work is. Where they can share and do the updates and do the reporting and controlling, going back to all of these wonderful things that the managers are, they are prioritizing the planning and organization and staffing and all of that. When it comes to teams, the manager is the one who invites people to the team and kick them out and make people as owners and make them understand like what is going on in the team. That is also directing and leading. So that is about the documents. And when it comes to just like, okay, what is documents in Microsoft 365? A lot of us are, really working with this. So, how does the storage works? In what different ways can I save? How does versioning works? Sharing and unsharing of documents, all these things. These are the things that we put into the program that they need to learn and about documents. It's the same thing for the other areas as well. But so the actual training that we're going to do is not that much. It's not that deep, actually. And I've been working with similarly like young and old and everything. But the hardest thing to train for is the people that are too stressed, and just boiling it down to this is what it is. And this is all you need to know to be able to manage your documents in Microsoft 365. Because the question, like, do you know how to use Teams in your company? That's too big of a question. Like, I'm an expert. I'm not sure that I would be 100% confident to answer that question with a yes. But if the question is, can you manage the documents for your team, for your project? Do you know how to search for the stuff that you need? Then yes, I know that. I can be confident in that, and I don't have to be an expert to answer yes to that question. Same thing when it comes to connect and communicate. And basically what this is about is to get them to stop sending emails internally. We get them to use app mentions. We teach them when they should use email and chats, group chats, and channel messages. How to work with their own communication plan. And that's a word that we in IT need to learn. Communication plan. What is that? That is not for marketing or just internal communications anymore. It's for all of us, especially managers, because they need to know, like, when am I going to invite people to my team, or when is it that there are people just interested in the results? Because we cannot create, we can't create like all the teams and then we have all the stakeholders in all of the teams that they're stakeholders for. We need to have somewhere, remember what Microsoft called team sites and communication sites when they released that? Making the sausage and selling the sausage. I still use that example. So in the team, that is a group of people with a pulse who are working together to make the sausage. And then we take the result, the plan, or the specification, whatever it is, and we put it on a communication site that could be aggregated up to an intranet where we're selling the sausage. So we need to keep that clear. And we need to keep people out of the HR team, because I want to know if I can get a new computer or if I can, get a raise or whatever. Like, what are the policies and regulations? I don't need to know what they're thinking about and how they're working on that. I just need to know what is the latest decided policy. So I'm interested in a result. I'm a stakeholder. Everyone who is a stakeholder should be kept outside of the team, because they're not working towards the result. And if they have the wrong information, if we're thinking like, yeah, we should maybe let people have a car for a value of like the new Tesla. If they read that, which is a thought, an idea, a suggestion, and they're a stakeholder, they don't remember it as that. They're just like, I can get a Tesla. And then you tell 3 people. And they'll be like, yeah, I want a Tesla. And I'm like, no, you can't afford that. It's way too expensive, because then you're leaking information. So keep the stakeholders outside, and everyone is working together for a result, because we who are working with this, we know that this is a thought, a suggestion, an idea, because it's in our Teams chats. And also how to spice up my announcements and make them powerful. That's great. To make them more powerful. This is actually something that a lot of managers are interested in, like how can they make their message pop? Communication is something that's very important for managers, because that is basically all that they do. When they're leading something, they're telling people what to do, or giving them feedback, or telling them how other people are thinking of us as a group. And so communication is their primary tool. It's not Excel spreadsheet, because that's also a tool that they use, the everything that's red and green, that's something that they like. So just make them know like how to make messages, how to make these groups, or tags that you can use, because this means something to managers, and they'd be like, wow, I can be more effective in my job because everyone gets what I'm saying. That's amazing. And taking control of the team's channels. I do this, and I think this is something that you all should do. For every channel, you get the wiki page, which is a useless wiki page. But I take that, rename it to about, and I put in about the channel and then in the name of the channel in this team. And I put purpose, a target group, way of working, and owner in there. And I make the manager, that is the owner of the team, to fill that out. And this is a trick if you're looking to get some order in your team's environment. When managers who are owning the teams are saying like, okay, what is the purpose of this team? This is like me in IT. I don't know what the purpose of that team is. This is tech. You can use it for whatever you want, but why are you using it? Is this the internal HR team where we're going to work on recruitment plans or our HR policies or, opening up a new office in Dubai? Like, no, you have to do that. And the magic then that happens is that when you get a channel or a team with is this the first real use case for wiki? It might be the only case. I'm not going to say. And the magic happens is when you have a team and a channel that has exactly the same, of these four headings: purpose, target group, way of working, and owners, then those two should be merged into one team or, merged into one channel. When you have a team where you cannot say these things because it's too complicated, then they should be separate teams. Because this is just tech, right? We're just using this. So if someone is trying to use a team for an intranet and external website, then be like, that's too complicated. We cannot make this happen. So if they can't describe it with those four headings, then they're in trouble. And then you're going to sit there and you're going to listen to them talk about this. And then you'll be like, maybe you should have another team. Maybe you should have a communication site. Maybe you should have something like this. Okay. See. Jacob, are you trying to say something or just turning on your camera? It's popped up here. Okay. Meeting and notes. This is also something that we want. We want to have channel meetings instead of Outlook meetings for, the normal common, like the project meeting that is every week at this point in time, because then we don't have to really, like update the Outlook, the appointment in Outlook for everyone who is joining or leaving. The teams take care of that. So that's what we want. And also we want to have just like a common way for everyone in the company to do meeting notes, which is OneNote. Why do we want that? Well, we're sharing resources. Like if we have someone in communication or HR or something, they're going to be involved in many different projects. And if everyone is doing it the same way, it's going to be easy to share resources. So that's why, for a normal, work meetings, we're going to use OneNote. And for structured meetings, official meetings, the steering group meetings or other things, then we're going to put it into Word and then make a PDF of it and put it into the archive. But getting people to decide, and this is one of the decision points that are going to be in this leadership program, is how are we going to do meeting notes and make sure that everyone does the same way. Some people put it in to the Outlook, just update the Outlook appointment with a Word file where they put it. I've seen so many weird things. So just do one of these two things: work meetings, OneNote; official meetings, Word, PDF. The end. Nothing more. That works. And also, when it comes to the meetings, making managers how to use Teams, use forms, use Spotlight, Whiteboard, these things, because they need to be good presenters. They need to learn the tech, how to use this. And just as the worst word in dating you can use is boring, it's the same thing when it comes to management meetings. If someone says like, well, you don't want to go to boring meetings, you don't want to be the person holding boring meetings, and then they listen and be like, no, I don't want to be boring. I don't want to do death by PowerPoint. I don't want to be that guy anymore. Or they know that guy and they're like, I'm not going to be like that guy. Or girl, sorry. So have, teach the managers how to have different types of meeting. What is the information meeting? What is the collaboration meeting? And the collaboration meetings, we're going to do that a little bit with the planner, right? We have some, solid notes in OneNote, but all the tasks and everything related to the task we put in our common planner. And then we try to get them to have, the full-on staff meeting as a, a really nice live event, perhaps, or something like that. And, do the recording and get someone to cut it, make it look nice, so we can use it. And then maybe the most important one, the tasks and to do, because this is really, the middle management, this is what they're doing. We have to do these things. We have to check them off. This is controlling and driving. What are we doing? So teaching them how to do planner versus to do, when to use what, and also the cultural questions when it comes to tasks. This, you cannot miss to do this, because it's very important to know that what happens when I assign a task to someone. Is that a direct order? Is that a question? Can I not do a task? Do I have to update this task before our weekly meetings? Do I have to use to do for my personal tasks or not? And the answer there is no, you don't have to use to do. That's fine. Your own personal work, you can do that whatever you want, but when it comes to collaboration, I would say the common tasks that you have, the manager will decide this. And the managers obviously have to know how to work with labels and filtering. And I haven't met a manager yet who doesn't get excited over the labels and the filtering. This is great stuff for them to know. And also to bring it over to all of the different screens, the small screen, the mobile phone, your computer, the online version, and maybe sometimes if someone has a an iPad or something, that's not super common, but it happens. But it's more just like using it on the phone as well. That is great. So if you boil down, like, this is what a manager needs to know and have control over. Presenting this as the, meat and potatoes of the program, manager's going to be like, yeah, I can learn this. This is important for me. I can see where I would benefit of having order with documents and getting some more structure in how we talk to each other, especially, when with the pandemic, everyone has to stay at home, and how to work with these things. So we're not throwing the entire smorgasbord of applications at them. We're putting this. These are clear concepts. And these, when it comes to document, maybe they have a document archive. Maybe they have some other stuff where they're doing everything. You're just going to pull in the SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange storage as a part of this story. They might have other places where they have to put their documents for different reasons. It could be a 3D stuff that they're working with because it's construction or something. Like, yes, you can store it in Microsoft 365, but it's really hard to work with it there. And then it'd be like, yeah, cool, use your the wiki page, the about, to say like, our 3D documents are stored in this other cloud. To get a license, contact the owner. That's fine. Okay, so and now to get this to work, let's talk about the program itself, right? Because in the digital leadership, you need to get all of the managers together in a meeting, and you will do this, once a month, once every 5 weeks, 6 weeks, not further apart than that. And you do a little bit of training there, and you explain the why, and they will come to you when they're ready for the how. And you take lots of decisions that they have to do about their digital culture, and you survey them. survey is also something that they love. And this is what they decide together, like the house rules and decisions about other services. When are we going to throw, close down Dropbox or our G Drive or something like that? This group decides that together. And everyone is going to have their manager in there. So if someone says like, yes, by the end of the year, this is what we're going to do, then it's not you who says that, it's their manager says that. In here, there are also some house rules that I have been working with, are very successful. Like leaders, also digital role models. We're going to have video on for our meetings. We don't send internal email. We use Teams, and we're using Teams and not other tools. If you want to kill Zoom or whatever other tools that people are using. I'm not saying that you should. If you do have a use case in your business for using other tools, then you just have to be clear, when are you using what tool, and everyone to be on board with that. So if you get this group on board with decisions like that, you're good to go. And you're going to put all of your stuff into a timeline. Managers love that. If you put a timeline into, here we're going to do the documents webinar, here we're going to do the to-do webinar, here we have a deadline for you to have a workshop with all of your employees in your group to decide or investigate on what kind of document storage that you have today. Put it in a timeline. They love that stuff. And also the big risk here, you have losing face and imposter syndrome. This is super common. And what I've been doing with this is using one-on-one coaching. So I have a booking site where all of the managers that I'm using, they can book me one-on-one for 50 minutes or 15 minutes if they want to, and they can ask me, and I get to talk about so many weird stuff. They don't know how to use a computer, some of them, but not judging, just teaching them, moving forward. And then they trust me and they will do whatever I tell them to, because the goal is for them to go through these 4 areas. That is the only thing that I have on them. So me helping them through whatever current thing that they have with their computers, since I also know a lot about PCs, I cannot help anyone with their Macs. So if there's a company that Macs, I pull in someone else. Hasn't happened yet. But it would be good if it's not an internal resource that does this. Like, don't have the coaching sessions maybe with IT support, because some people are afraid to lose face. So if you have a consultant that you can put in for that, that is a good idea, because they didn't really want to lose face. Other resources that I do, we at Storials, we do have this service for a digital gym. Basically what it is, it's a Teams that we call digital gym, and we have some channels in there and they can ask questions. I put a private channel for managers and called digital leaders. And, I put a tab into my booking site where they can book me, and I will, spoon feed them these things. Was there a question there? Someone? No? No? Okay. And for the last thing that I want to show you guys is to, survey them. And this is a survey that I did for one of my customers. Managers hate not knowing things. It makes them feel stupid. And that is something also that will motivate them to do things. And there's a link here to the form, which you can, you can steal my questions. I'm fine with that. And I like to be funny. So I put a question in there. It's like, I will reserve structured and reoccurring time to become a better digital leader. They don't have an option to say no, but they have an option to see how engaged they are. Like, oh yeah, yes, or fine. Otherwise, it's basically like, have they done some of the things that I think is important for them to do? They know how to find the support page. They know how to adjust their notifications. They know how to, they have used the mobile apps for OneDrive and OneNote. And then, the option of, I know nothing of this. And then putting together what I've done for my team, project, or process, which they are, mainly responsible for. We are several owners. I have secured that we have an actual team. I know how to add members and make them owners, or I know none of this. And then something about the documents and something about the synchronization. So we're always pulling it into the 4 areas, the questions that they need to be in control of, and also like do a little blink towards the house rules. That is also something, because they have decided on the house rule. I have served them with house rules that they can use. Sometimes I put things in there that are too aggressive, too harsh, or too loose, just to provoke them into taking a decision. If someone says like, we don't know when we're going to turn off the G drive, I'm like, okay, let's say in a month. And then people get really upset because like, whoa, we can't do it in a month. Oh, that was just a suggestion. What do you decide? What do you suggest? End of the year or end of next year, and be like, okay, what do the rest of the group think about that? So, push them to make a decision by being unreasonable, either, harsh or loose. That's also a way to go there. Whew, okay, so that was my presentation in my little, well, not so little, but in my whiteboard. Do we have any questions or comments, or does this make sense? Thank you for the clapping. And oh, Lisbon's here. Hi.
That was great. Yeah, got a couple of good ideas for my workshops in the next couple of weeks. But I was really amazed the first real use case for Wiki. I think that was the first and only real use case for Wiki. So
yeah, the Wiki tab as a Wiki tab, it sucks. It really does.
yes.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And I have been telling even in this week that please remove the Wiki tabs and do not use them. But maybe I will change my mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Pia, for this great presentation. I had a question. You say you are available for managers to coach them, actually. How do you organize that? You say technically it's bookings, but how do you sell your proposal? Do you say there will be some days where I'll be available in the afternoon and comes in who wants to come in? Or do you say I'm just have a look at my agenda and I can do 1 hour here, 1 hour there, 1 hour? How do you make it manageable for you, that availability?
Well, I do a couple of different things. Like, yes, I do the one-on-one coaching when they actually just book me. When I'm available in my calendar, it's like first come, first serve. So that's fine. And I also do an open house. I used to have an open house 1 hour every week where I will just be available for questions. No one really shows up for that. So I'm going to change that into having a 30-minute scenario-based session, like with things not being like, oh, this is OneDrive tips and tricks. No one cares about that. But like, do you want to find all documents that have been shared with you in Microsoft 365? 30 minutes on that, and some more tips and tricks about OneDrive. And then I have 30 minutes just questions. So I tell them this everywhere, in the gym and in the meetings, book me. And now I have all the managers telling everyone, it's like, Pia's amazing, book her. So that works. And I'm super busy this week and next week. That is all my schedule always look like that. But after that, it's just open because people just want it now. People don't plan ahead. I'm sorry to say,
But so if I understand it well, you say, okay, that afternoon is available for you, dear leaders, and just book a slot in that afternoon. But tomorrow I'll be on another project and tomorrow is not available.
No,
kind of.
Yeah, well, actually, no. My life is a bit of chaos. I have maybe like 5 or 6 customers, but they're using the same booking site. Well, I have the same master calendar that they will have to book in.
Okay.
So, and when it becomes a complete disaster, I will pull in, my colleagues and be like, you have to help me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's a great question. Do we have any other great questions?
Hi.
Hi.
Adam here again. No, I mean, I don't have a particular question in that sense. I just kind of agree with you in regards to kind of use cases there, because I'm doing basically a lot of this right now regarding basically training, right? And the general tip is also like when you have trainings and so forth, they're gonna teach someone something. Kind of use different use cases instead. Like, okay, how do I do this? And then with help of OneDrive or Teams or whatever it could be, right? But and I also use this in general when I do trainings, like not like, okay, we're gonna teach how to use OneDrive and start from scratch and start showing buttons and start showing, like I usually do, like, okay, what I use the use case. So for example, so I want to share this file, or I want to access this file from everywhere, basically locally or whatever, and then I go into detail and explain how to do this, right? Instead of just going through all the features of everything, and so that's just, I agree, I highly agree with your thinking there.
Yeah, because that becomes so boring. And you just have to go to yourself. If someone was going to show you about, I don't know, Salesforce or something, and be like, yeah, it's a very useful tech. I know that. But if someone be like, this is how you upload a document, this is how you create a new customer, this is how I'd be like, okay, I'm falling asleep now. But if you can make it into a use case or a story, and always pick a positive story, never say, your coworker broke their leg and cannot do this, so you have to take over their work. Never do that, because then people are thinking about, I'm gonna die one day. So always do a positive. I always do, like, your coworker just won 100,000,000 and gonna take her boyfriend to the Caribbean, so she's not going to respond to any of your emails. She's gone. You need to do this yourself. And then everyone will be like, oh, think about sun and Caribbean and lots of money. That's something that we want to think about, being positive. So always pick a positive scenario and go with that. Yeah,
I'm going to use exactly that example next time around.
it works. You're free to use it. Yeah, I'm dying to go to the Caribbean, so I was talking about that because saying it a million times, maybe I will win money and go to the Caribbean. Never know.
You can always hope. Thank you so much. It was a great session.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And this is also something that we do in Storyal. So if someone wants help to do this, like, you're free to use everything. I'm going to share this with you. But if you hit a hard spot, this is something that we do at Storyals.
Great. Yeah, thank you. It was a very good session and something different than PowerPoint slides. So using whiteboard also, and Microsoft Whiteboard, not using Miro or anything else. So it was awesome.
Great.
Yes. Good. Any questions? We still have plenty of time.
I think not. I think everyone is, just thinking about this stuff and be like, yes, managers, they are not interested in new tech just because it's new tech. Who would have thought? It's such a revolutionary idea.
Yes, exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, hello from Finland here, southwestern Espoo, so right at the sea. I'm a senior consultant from Sulava, and I enjoyed your presentation very much. I agree on so much of what you said, stuff that needs to be sort of relevant to the correct target group. So, for instance, not caring about angry or frustrated or stressed managers when you talk to them. We've been struggling at Sulava with, well, not struggling, but trying to brainstorm around end user training and end user sort of adoption services. So, do you do any sort of end user training? What I'm sort of puzzled about, and what I agree when you said that everyone wants their questions answered now.
Yeah.
So, have you sort of experimented with any sort of a shared teams for customers where people could come to a sort of a digital gym, like you explained, or making yourself available for short sparring sessions for end users, because I think there are tons of questions in the air. And at my previous job, where I was working sort of in-house service support, you had constantly people coming to you and they say, well, could you spare like 5 minutes and come and show how to do this? And we've tried sort of short videos, and we've tried written sort of instructions with screen captures, and nothing seems to work. I mean, it's too passive. So I'm thinking it needs to be something where people are sort of in contact with each other, and which is very hands-on and maybe live. So have you done anything like that?
Yes, like in Storyals, what we do, we have story-based tutorials. That's our name, where we do e-learning with quizzes and things like that. So we like the base. If someone says like, I don't know anything about OneDrive, we're like, great, we have this e-learning for you. So if there's like the basic, we push them to our content and use that. But, you know, if someone has a very specific question, like, okay, I have an end user who has a personal account, how do I do that? That's what we use the digital gym. It's just a team. Anyone can answer a question or ask a question, and anyone can answer a question as well. We also do the digital gym sometimes in Yammer. And what happens is the magic of, you know, people, because people are helpful. We start in Storyals by answering all of the questions, but after a while, people in the organization will come and help to answer those questions and be like, we in purchasing do this, you should try that. So there you have the short answers. And if someone is asking the big question, like, you know, this is an hour and a half, then be like, okay, go to the content over there. And also if there is something that's very like tricky, someone says, well, I'm having this survey and someone needs to sign and someone needs to this, and I'll be like, book me and we can talk about your scenario, because then we can, you know, different by what the basic knowledge, a quick question, or something that's really a conundrum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So teaching basically organizations to help themselves and be more supportive and sort of spreading the good around. Okay, that's great.
And also,
Thanks
be true to yourself. Be true to you. If you have made a video, you'll be like, go to the video, go to the video. Stop doing the whole thing like, I can share my screen and help you right now. We'd be like, no, go to the video. And because then they will also tell other people to go to the video that we've done. Yeah, nag about it.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks. Wow, so many great questions. Like, I'm so excited. I haven't been this excited at, you know, to hang around in a meeting on a Monday afternoon for a really long time.
Great. That's what this community is for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sharing knowledge and also learning and having fun in the middle as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have fun. I always try to have fun with my managers, and that's also something that helps them to relax, not only to have fun, but also when I mess up. Managers love that when I say like, I have technical difficulties, I cannot, you know, come into this meeting, and I share stories when I fell on my face. They'd be like, oh God, if an expert is okay with messing up, then I'm gonna be fine. So, so I always try to, you know, be very open with that.
Yeah, that's good. Really good. And we are just people, and this is the same tech. We are all using the same tech.
Yes, we are.
And it just doesn't always work.
It's not.
Great. Hey, still, there is still time for questions if there is any.
Yeah, so you're gonna, you know, put this together on YouTube. We're gonna, you know, I'm gonna give you this whiteboard, but where are you gonna put it for everyone else to get to it?
Well, I'm not actually sure, but we have a place for that, so we can definitely share that one. Yeah, throughout some of our channels. So the recording is going to YouTube, of course. So later this week, so we can find it. I will just share at the end for a couple of slides. Thank you, Pia. I have a lot of ideas for for my next workshops. I just need to get my hands on the whiteboard, maybe.
Yeah, you
Not
will.
going to reuse the wiki yet, but maybe in the future. I'm
Maybe.
still preaching against it.
Yeah, it's pretty useless. But also I want to, encourage everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very open to connect to other people in this community. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So just closing up. So just a reminder that we have our awesome TeamsNation community conference coming on March 23rd. And call for speakers is still open. So you have close to 2 weeks still to submit your session. And after that, we are starting to pick up the actual sessions. And the registration takes just that time that you can copy paste your email address or type it into the field and send it. So 10 seconds and you are good to go. You're registered to the event. And we already announced Microsoft speakers on December. So many familiar faces. Jeff Teeper, Caruana is there, Charles Lamanna is there. So we have an awesome Microsoft lineup coming up, but also we are looking forward for your submissions and your sessions, what are coming. And for next meetup is happening on February 14th, and there will be some more TeamsNation community conference announcements, and we will be announcing the speakers later. So, and you can find the events from Meetup from that link. So that's about it for today. Thank you for participating. Thank you again, Pia, for having a great session. Thank you for great conversation for all of you participants. I will close the meeting. Good rest of the day for all of you. And let's meet next time on February 14th on TeamsNation. Thank you.